most people do events like golfing and such like that. Why did you choose ping pong?
I wanted to be something different. You know, kind of step outside the box of the normal things people do. We still have the golf tournament in April, which is our big event, but this is something new and fresh, and I think everyone's excited about it.
Check out your turnout, though. I mean, what are people expecting tonight?
I don't know what they're expecting, but I know what they're going to see. A lot of bad players, a lot of bad ping pong players, and the biggest thing is to have some fun. You know, we're looking to raise a lot of money, obviously, but we all want to have fun and get away from the game of football a little bit.
David Bowens told me as long as you're an athlete, you can sure play a great game of ping pong. Is that true?
Being an athlete helps, but there's a lot of skill to the game, and I think we're all learning that as we practice a little bit.
Okay, you guys have great stuff in your goodie bags, but my question is, what the heck is this?
I mean,
does that make you better?
I saw it in the. It's from my boy at Key West Alo, or Alo, however you say it down here. I'm not quite sure what it is, but we appreciate the support.
All right, it's going to be a lot of fun tonight. That's what we know. Yeah. All right, guys, from the Hard Rock Casino down here and JT's Ping Pong Smash, back to you, Jackie.
That is a great event. Congratulations to Jason and everyone involved, including Y100 as well. Well, there is more sweet news tonight about the health benefits from dark chocolate. A new study out of England has concluded that a chemical in dark chocolate called theobromine is more effective in suppressing a cough than codeine and similar narcotic cough medicines. In order to get the equivalent amount of the dose used in the study, you'd have to eat a 7-ounce block of dark chocolate every time you cough. Excuse me. That's a doctor's order, by the way, that probably none of us would have a problem following. And they're anything but hound dogs. But they have one thing in common. They're crying all the time. They're called New Guinea singing dogs, and they are the latest exhibit at the Miami Metro Zoo. These dogs are a smaller relative of the dingo and get their singing name from their howl. The dog exhibit was dedicated today along with a new pelican display at the zoo. And the Burdines Macy's store at the Falls Shopping Mall is kicking off the holiday season with a hefty donation. Their hope is to make the holidays a little brighter for some South Florida children. The store will donate decorated holiday trees and special holiday plush toys to 4 local charities: the YMCA, South Day Children's Home Society, Miami Children's Hospital, and Baptist Children's Hospital. Good night. See you at 11.
Thank you for making NBC6 your choice for news. Join Tony Segredo and Jackie Nesprold for NBC6 News at 11. And for news 24 hours a day, log on to NBC6.net or listen to us on 87.7 FM.
Tom Cameron Quaid.
Chad Huntley. David Brent. John Chancellor.
Terror attack. Gunmen stormed the U.S. consulate in Saudi Arabia. 8 are dead. Was this the work of Al-Qaeda? Army fatigue. Like many, this man signed up for 1 year of service. The Army says he's needed longer in Iraq. Now the courts may decide when he gets to go home. An NBC News investigation. Suicide bombers, the men who go to Iraq to kill Americans. Tonight, inside the minds of these terrorists. And brainwaves. How this man has learned to control his computer. And how this breakthrough could mean new freedom for so many.
From NBC News World Headquarters in New York, this is NBC Nightly News with Brian Williams.
Good evening. 8 people are dead tonight after an attack on a U.S. consulate in Saudi Arabia in what was thought to be one of the most heavily defended compounds in that nation right up until the gunman entered. Tonight, terrorism is back in the news, and so is the complicated and troubled relationship between this nation and the Saudis, and what may be the future of an entire region. We begin here tonight with the latest on what we know. Here is NBC News Chief Foreign Affairs Correspondent Andrea Mitchell.
Late today, the Saudis find video of the attackers on security cameras.
Quite clear that those terrorists who attacked our consulate in Jeddah had observed our procedures for some time.
This attack on Jeddah comes after a string of al-Qaeda attacks elsewhere in Saudi Arabia, often against American targets.
This attack in Saudi is an overseas attack. No one should read that to mean, however, that they're not going to come here.
That obviously an impartial report from Andrea Mitchell. Will move along to the intelligence reform bill, the one that would create a new kind of intelligence czar. the one the 9/11 Commission supports, along with both parties in Congress and the President of the United States. It is still a bill, however, and not a law because it's been stalled, until now, that is. Our report tonight on that from NBC's Chip Reed.
Preventing another 9/11. That's the goal of the intelligence reorganization plan agreed to by congressional leaders today. For months, the bill was propelled forward by unwavering pressure from families of 9/11 victims who today held yet another vigil, delivered yet another petition to Capitol Hill.
Nothing has changed.
And broke down in tears of frustration shortly before the deal was reached.
Here we are today, down to the wire, just pleading for this legislation to go forward.
The bill adopts many of the recommendations of the 9/11 Commission. Most important, a cabinet-level director of national intelligence to oversee all 15 U.S. intelligence agencies.
Now we'll finally have one person who's in charge, accountable, and responsible for all of the United States intelligence efforts.
The agreement follows a political stalemate that left the bill hanging in limbo for weeks. The holdup? A group of Republicans in the House of Representatives who argued that the new intelligence director might be too powerful, possibly interfering with the Pentagon's control over battlefield intelligence, perhaps even putting U.S. troops at risk. But late today, after negotiators, quote, tinkered with the language, a compromise was reached.
It has now met the standard that we were most interested in, which is protecting our troops on the battlefield.
Sources say the agreement was greased by personal phone calls from President Bush over the weekend and a strong endorsement today.
It's a piece of legislation that is important for the security of our country.
There is still a small chance that the 9/11 bill could be delayed again by immigration issues, but sources here say it now appears very likely that it will be passed by wide margins in both houses as soon as tomorrow. Chip Reed, NBC News, the Capitol.
Owing to a technical problem here, let's revisit our lead story tonight on the terrorist attack in Saudi Arabia earlier today. Here again, then, NBC's Andrea Mitchell.
Intelligence sources, including the Saudis, tell NBC News the terrorists, calling themselves the Fallujah Brigade, had been casing the U.S. consulate in Jeddah for weeks.
The attacks in Saudi Arabia remind us that the terrorists are still on the move.
The consulate was heavily fortified with rings of security. So how did they breach it? An eyewitness.
There's such huge security around the embassy that how could anyone do this?
How did it happen? 11:15 a.m. Saudi guards wave an official car past the outer checkpoint. 2 cars pull up behind. They are stopped, but 5 attackers jump out and start firing and throwing grenades. Inside, most of the staff are sent to safe rooms. The terrorists run into the compound and are stopped at a second barrier guarded by U.S. Marines. One of the terrorists calls police and says, "We are in the American embassy. We have 15 hostages." Saudi security forces, which have trained for incidents like this, attack. In the firefight, 3 attackers die. 2 are injured and captured. 5 foreign nationals working for the U.S. are also killed. Was it al-Qaeda, perhaps, or a splinter group?
These are likely al-Qaeda operatives, or perhaps more likely al-Qaeda wannabes. There are a lot of imitators.
Late today, the Saudis find video of the attackers on security cameras.
It's quite clear that those terrorists who attacked our consulate in Jeddah had observed our procedures for some time.
This attack on Jeddah comes after a string of al-Qaeda attacks elsewhere in Saudi Arabia, often against American targets.
This attack in Saudi is an overseas attack. No one should read that to mean, however, that they're not going to come here.
Tonight, a Saudi al-Qaeda website is claiming responsibility for the attack. And the U.S. is looking at whether the signal to attack came in last week's video from Osama bin Laden's top deputy. Andrea Mitchell, NBC News, Washington.
Now to Iraq. Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld said today he envisions and he hopes U.S. troops will be out of Iraq by the end of President Bush's second term, 4 years from now. But he said the final decision will depend in part on the security situation on the ground, and tonight that is dangerous. Consider this: in just the past 12 months, over 1,000 Iraqi police officers and new recruits have been killed. As NBC's Charles Sabine reports, wearing a police uniform in Iraq these days means a life in the line of fire.
Colonel Safar Ali did something courageous in Baghdad today. He showed up for work. At the Al Jura station in South Baghdad, more than a quarter of the police officers did not. Across the country, 50,000 of 135,000 policemen, more than a third, are now